All right, welcome back. Hopefully everyone is properly caffeinated. I thought that the first segment was really fantastic. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for coming back. Filling 5 hours of programming on climate and trade kind of seems like it's a lot, and at the same time, it was really difficult narrowing down our options of who to bring to speak. There are so many amazing thought leaders in this space, some of whom are in the crowd today, many of whom are in the crowd today. So we've got about 2 hours here. We've got 2 more bipartisan pairings of senators coming up. But first, we're going to hear from the Congresswoman from Colorado, Diana DeGette, who is a senior member of the Energy and Commerce Committee for keynote remarks.
Thank you so much, Sam, for that introduction. And I want to thank the Bipartisan Policy Center for bringing us all together for this informative event. It's really great to see such a wonderful attendance at this, because I think you'll agree with me, one of the most pressing issues that we're facing in our time is the climate crisis. And as I've been saying, in my 28 years as a member of the House Energy and Commerce Committee, climate change isn't a red issue or a blue issue. It's an issue that affects everybody, and it affects every state in this country and, of course, our world. So I truly believe we can get everything else right, but if we fail on climate, then that's all for nothing, because this truly is an existential issue. So as you heard, I'm a senior member of the Energy and Commerce Committee now. I'm also the ranking Democrat on the Subcommittee on Energy, Climate, and Grid Security in this Congress. And in that role, I've been deeply committed to finding bipartisan solutions that will help us transition to a clean energy solution. I know you just heard on your last panel from 2 of my dear friends and colleagues, Representatives Scott Peters and John Curtis, about the Prove It Act, which is a bill that I'm very happy to be a co-sponsor of. And I'm probably not going to be the first person to refer to him today as Senator Curtis. I just saw him in the hall on the way over, and I tell him every time I see him, I'm really looking forward to working with him when he's elected to the Senate in November on climate issues and other really important environmental issues that face not just the West, where both of our states are, but also the whole country. The Prove It Act is a bipartisan approach that ensures that America leads in clean energy production while also ensuring that we don't import dirty goods from our adversaries. A healthy future for our children and grandchildren depends on bipartisan efforts, just like that one, to aid our progress towards net zero emissions and the swift transition to clean energy. We really do need ambitious goals to achieve net zero, and the scientists all agree we need to be able to meet those goals by the year 2050. And so I'm laser-like focused on doing that. What that will do is it will require a clear path forward that leverages every aspect of energy production in the United States, while at the same time reducing the harmful impact of fossil fuels and carbon emissions. Time is of the essence here, because future generations are counting on those of us who are in positions to act now to do everything that we can to protect our planet. It took some time to get all of the members of Congress on board with this idea, and still all of the members of Congress are not on board with the goal of 0% by 2050. But I believe if Congress works with private business, with state and local leaders, and with people in NGOs and every other aspect, we can work, each of us, in our own niche to get to that resolution and to be able to get to that goal. Last year, I had the privilege of attending COP28 in Dubai, where, as part of the largest congressional delegation that we have had to COP in many decades, and where we met with delegations from all around the world. As you know, there were over 150 heads of state and tens of thousands of participants, including businesses, youth leaders, non-governmental organizations, and indigenous peoples, who all came together united in our commitment to tackle the climate crisis. At COP, nearly 200 nations pledged to transition away from fossil fuels, curb harmful emissions, and build a more sustainable future for all of us. This was really extraordinary considering where COP was held and considering some of the resistance that we felt from some parts of the international community. But yet we were able to get this agreement from over 200 or nearly 200 nations. This collective action was a significant achievement for the health of our planet, and it demonstrates a strong and growing consensus on reducing emissions, investing in clean energy, and protecting vulnerable communities. During COP28, I was so proud to be able to sit on a panel and share the work we're doing on the Energy and Commerce Committee to advance those goals. My subcommittee really is at the forefront of driving energy policy, and I've been working closely with Chairman Jeff Duncan, a Republican from South Carolina, to try to find bipartisan approaches to our nation's energy sector. Everybody here knows, at least on an abstract level, the importance of bipartisanship and how it can unlock the door to collaboration on the issues that matter most to our country. And working with Chairman Duncan and also the chair of the full committee, Kathy McMorris Rogers, and also Frank Pallone, the ranking member on energy policy, really is a vital goal because the health of our planet can't be sacrificed to partisan politics. And in case you haven't noticed, we have plenty of partisan politics right now in this country and also around the energy issues. So one of Jeff's and my key focuses has been modernizing nuclear energy, which is critical for a clean energy future. Nuclear energy provides nearly 20% of the electricity in the US and is the nation's largest source of carbon-free energy, making up more than half of our emissions-free electricity. One consistent thread that I have heard since taking the ranking member position is the lack of incentive to recruit and to retain the workers needed to ensure that our nuclear energy facilities are safe, secure, and functional. In 2022, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission reported it was 23% smaller than 6 years earlier. And according to 2023 data, 26% of the Commission's workforce is currently eligible for retirement. That number is expected to rise to 44% over the next 5 years. So these statistics, along with the concerns from environmental groups and the energy community, were what pushed me and Chairman Duncan to write the Atomic Energy Advancement Act. This landmark bill enhances our energy supply chain, improves safety, recruits a highly trained and skilled workforce, and ensures that our nuclear regulations are up to date. It passed out of the House, you won't believe this, it passed out of the House on an overwhelmingly bipartisan vote of 365 to 36. Last month, even more unbelievably, it passed out of the Senate as part of a larger package. And just yesterday, I was so honored to attend a White House ceremony in the Oval Office with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle and both sides of the Capitol, where President Biden attached his signature and enacted this bill into law. The law fundamentally changes the way we approach nuclear energy while helping reduce emissions and put Americans into good-paying jobs. And it will help the United States lead the world in transitioning to clean energy. In Congress, even though we passed this one bill, we still need serious action to meet these ambitious climate goals. That's why in the last Congress, I wrote the Clean Energy and Innovation Deployment Act, or CETA, a comprehensive bill that invests in clean energy technologies, establishes a clean energy standard, incentivizes methane waste prevention, and lowers energy costs for low-income households. This bill provides a path to an all-of-the-above approach to energy production, including solar, wind, nuclear, and traditional energy sources. It also encourages traditional energy producers to operate in a way that protects our environment and reduces carbon emissions. Several of the incentives from that bill, like the zero-emission electricity credits that encourage power companies to deploy innovative technologies that reduce emissions, were actually included in the Inflation Reduction Act that passed. I'm currently working on updating CETA due to the provisions already becoming law. It's a straightforward and comprehensive approach to achieving our goal of net zero emissions by 2050. And so I'm focused on doing everything I can in moving it forward. But that's just one prong of the approach. Congress has a responsibility to take as a whole on the climate crisis. We've made progress, as you've heard, but it's just the first step. Much of the progress is thanks to 3 historic bills that are cutting costs for working families, creating new jobs, and addressing the climate crisis. The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act provided $1.2 trillion with a T to our nation's infrastructure, and the CHIPS and Science Act boosted domestic research and manufacturing right here in the U.S. And the Inflation Reduction Act was the most expansive climate action in our history. Already, these provisions have created over 271,000 jobs, secured over $350 billion in clean energy projects, and made communities more resilient against the disastrous impacts of climate change. That bill was signed into law in 2022, and we're continuing to see positive progress. So while we're starting to move in the right direction, as I said, we have more to do. Taking on energy production and transitioning to clean energy will take time, investment, and a commitment to renewable energy sources. I'm focused on delivering serious solutions that lower energy costs, protect our environment, and secure a healthy future for generations to come. I believe that with effort and commitment, we can do this in a bipartisan way because simply we must. So I look forward to working with all of you. Help us do this because our children and our children's children's generations are at risk. Thank you very much.